Hello, this is Mason with DB Services. Today we're going to be integrating FileMaker with Tableau and building a dashboard. So I've got my sample file here, and it's already hosted up on our FileMaker 16 server. FileMaker 16 server is required, and the REST API must be turned on, and you must also turn on in the security settings the REST API privilege set, extended privileges. So FM REST right here, I've got it enabled for my full access account. You also need to make sure that you have a valid SSL certificate. You see this green icon, that means you're good. All right, so now that I've already got that all set up, the first thing I need to do is make a layout with the data I want to pull into Tableau. I don't really want to pull in all this data. Not all of it's relevant to what we want to report on. And this is just a bunch of order data. Profit, sales, cost, where it's from, all that information. So I went ahead and created a layout specifically for the data I want, just called order web. And this is all we're really going to be using today. So once we have that set up, next thing we need to do is open up Tableau. I've already downloaded that. And when you see the screen, you need to click on the web data connector. And then this is the URL, your host, fmi/rest/tableau/fm_connector.html. And it should show you a screen like this. Again, this is the URL, and this is the screen you should see. So the source database name, this is your FileMaker database name, so ours is Tableau sample in this case. And then we need the layout name, which is order-web. And then just your regular FileMaker account information. We'll enable incremental refresh. Okay, so this is our data. If we want to see, I think this is a little bit easier to see it this way. Yep, this is all of our data, field name, table, and the remote field name. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and create a sheet. So let's go to our worksheet. And worksheets are basically just charts. They're just simple charts, and then a dashboard is a combination of sheets or charts. So let's go ahead and start dragging. So the way it works is it shows all your data here. These dimensions, category names, customer segments, that sort of thing. And then measures would be generally numbers, stuff like that. So first thing we want to do is we want to break down our cells by category. And actually, let's just go ahead and rename these. So customer segment. Just going to make everything a lot easier. Subcategory here. And one thing to note is that it automatically detected that this was called state, and it automatically determined that it was geographical data that we can use. So it says geographical role right here, state. So that's pretty cool. Let's just rename these last few. Alright, and it automatically generated the latitude and longitude based on the state information. Number of records is something it also just gives us. I didn't have to add a summary field or anything like that. So, and you can make calculated ones and all that, but we're not going to delve into that. But we do, so we want to basically make a table view of our different categories. So I'm going to drag categories to my rows right here. And then for the columns that we want to see, let's do the profit, and actually let's drop these to marks actually. We got to just change the type. I want to see this in a table view. There we go. Alright, so we got category, profit, sales. We can also do number of records. And yeah, as you can see, it sums them all up nicely for us. You might want to format these though so that they look as currency. So just right click, format, and let's actually click on here and hit format. There we go. Currency. This is also currency. Okay, we can close our formatting pane. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and also just add at the bottom by clicking analysis, and then click totals, and we want to show columns for grand total. So that'll just sum everything up for us. Let's also just give this sheet a name. We'll call it categories. Just category actually. And that will automatically update the title here. But if we wanted to rename just the title, we could also do that. Alright, so now we have one sheet. So that kind of gets us started. Next, let's go ahead and I'm actually just going to duplicate this and create one for subcategory. Subcategory. And so instead of this here, we'll just drag that out and drag category there instead. And just like that, we have subcategories there, so really easy to do that. Next, we're going to do kind of a different type of chart. We're going to do a map. And then at the end, we're going to combine all these subcharts into one dashboard. So let's go ahead and just rename it now. And we're going to want, let's do profit and state over here on the left. And it automatically knows that we want to do something with geographical data. It picked the one where it's just going to show dots where it is. I prefer this view. We can zoom in here a little bit. Great. So that gives us the data, but it's not really telling us a whole bunch. But what we can do is we can actually make this colored. So now we can see the states with more profit are going to be darker blue. If we don't like those colors, we can change the color here. We can do a custom one if we want, or we can do anything here. I'll just do red-green diverging here. That'll tell us green state's good, red bad. Really easy to see. Okay, so yeah, so far we've created 3 charts in no time. So we're seeing the speed and ease of how to integrate with our data. Let's add one more chart, then we'll put it all together. So we actually want a chart just to see the actual products themselves, the individual products. So we're going to make products our row, and we're going to add all members. And the measures, we're going to want sales and profit. And I want to see, let's see, oh, those might be columns. There we go. Sorry, we'll put those into the columns, and then we can get the columns for each item. But let's go ahead and sort this by sum. There. You can see FileMaker is the most profitable, but it's a little hard to tell exactly what that is without hovering over them. So what we can do is we can add the profit and sums also to marks. We're going to add these to the labels right here. And the cells to this label. Oops. That's not what we wanted. And just go ahead and delete that. Alright, so we have profit on profit, and then on cells we want cells. And then we can also, if we wanted to, we could color code this as well. So that gives us color there, and on sum we can color code this either by profit or by cells. It doesn't really matter. Great. So that is giving us a lot of good data. We're seeing our profit, our sales for each product. So far, we're just kind of seeing all the data. Once we put it all together, we'll be able to filter it a little bit better. So we'll call this product. Alright, so yeah, that is the next step, is let's put this all together. So I'm going to make a dashboard. And these right here, as you see, are our sheets. So we're actually going to start with the map. I'm actually not going to show that right there. Next to it, we want to do the category. And then we want subcategory. Okay. Tiled, and right now it's set to a minimum size. Let's go ahead and just make this automatic. There we go. That's better. Alright, and then down below we want to show our individual products. And alright, let's maybe move this down below. There we go. So yeah, it's very easy to reframe these, give them some more space if you need to, maybe a little less space on the map, a little more space on the subcategory. Alright, let's actually go a little more so we can see these. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Next thing that we're going to do is make it so that we can start filtering our data by clicking. So if I click on Utah, I only want to see the Utah category, subcategories, and products for that sales data. So it's actually pretty easy. You can go up here to the dashboard and click Actions, and we're just going to add a couple actions. So we're going to filter. We'll call this filter by map. And when we select a map item, we want to filter everything but the map. So that's pretty much how it works. What you want to filter by and what you're filtering. So now if I click on Utah, you'll notice everything jumped down. All our data is changing. But now we want to take it a step further, and we want to be able to just look at furniture when we click on that. So again, simple step, we just go to Actions. filter by category on select, and we don't want the map or the category. We basically always want to go down the chain. And let's add one more filter by subcategory. And that would only filter the products. All right, so let's test that out. So if I click on furniture, only seeing bookcases, office supplies, everything's filtering. I can hold down command and I can select multiple states. If I want to look at the West Coast, I can do that, or you can also use a lasso tool to, if I only want to look at the East Coast over here. All right, so the East Coast technology, I only care about software. Yeah. See FileMaker, Salesforce, Dojo, and Microsoft Access. So obviously this is just fake data, but kind of fun to look at, play around with. Yeah, and you can also do the same thing here. You can Control-Shift to select multiple different subcategories or categories. You click on it and click off to show all. Yeah, so very, very powerful stuff. You can really get in depth here. There's a lot of cool stuff that Tableau can do, and yeah, it'll definitely make looking at your data, understanding your data, much easier and help you in your business. So after you've created a dashboard, the next thing you're going to want to do is publish it to either Tableau Server or Tableau Cloud. And in this case, I'm going to actually be publishing to Tableau Public, which is a free service, but the only problem is that it is public. All your data is public. Everyone can see, download it. So only do this if the data is truly open to the public. So I'm going to go ahead and just click File, Save to Tableau Public, and stick with that name. Overwrite that. Opens up in Chrome, and then it's going to just basically let you see it. So you can share this link with anyone, and they'll be able to see your dashboard. It works the same way as it did before. Filters, everything works the same. Let's go ahead and get this unfiltered real quick. Alright, and then we're going to click this share button here, and we're going to copy this embed code. Now we're actually going to embed this in our FileMaker database. So let me go ahead and go to this dashboard layout I have set up. And this is just a web viewer. You do need to add this to the start of your script, but other than that, you just paste that in here. Click OK. Boom. Now in FileMaker we have our web viewer with our dashboard. Might look a little better on a bigger screen, but there we go. Data. One thing to note is that the data will not refresh on public cloud, so you will need to purchase either, for live data, you're going to need to either purchase FileMaker Cloud, Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server. So, but that does give you great insight into all your data. Still allows all the interactivity right from FileMaker. Yep, just like that. Thanks.